How much would you be willing to pay for Teddy Bridgewater as your backup quarterback? I think you got to blow Mariota out. How much would you be willing to pay Teddy Bridgewater? What would you pay him to make him your backup? Would you give him $5 million? Would he take $5 million? Is Bridgewater looking for a starting role? Like, why haven't the 49ers contacted him? 5-star goes, no, Teddy's trash. So is Mariota. He's trash too. So you're comfortable with Marcus Mariota as your backup quarterback. He's looked horrible in camp. He's looked terrible. Quan goes where Hurts goes down. Gee, 49ers are not. They played 3 quarterbacks last year and made it to the NFC title game. Their season wasn't over. So yours is over. San Francisco's season won't be over then. If they lose quarterbacks, they're still going to win 12 games, who's ever. They played 3 quarterbacks last year. Lance, Garoppolo, and Purdy. Jacoby Brissett got a 1-year, $8 million deal. And Jalen Hurts' deal doesn't kick in until next year, so it would be a rental. Mariota got $5 million? Huh. I might do that. Buy myself a little insurance. I might do that. Okay? Yeah, somewhere in there with incentives. $6 million, $2 million in incentives. If he starts, it's more. Sure. Yeah, okay. And it's like I said, he's not going to be on the team next year because he's going to go and try to start. Now, maybe he's waiting out on that. Looking for a team that, the 2 guys that are out there are Wentz and him. The rest of them are bums. And I'm not suggesting that, though. I think Bridgewater's probably a little better. I'm not sure where Tyrod Taylor is. Marcus Mariota's a scrub. He's been a scrub his entire NFL career. Stop making guys who failed at other places sound like they're great because they're in Philly. Stop doing that. Just because they're in Philly doesn't mean that their careers haven't been horseshit. Relax. It's okay to sign. You can't have a whole roster of first-round guys. Okay? You can't. Tyrod's in the final deal. I like Tyrod. I'd like to have him on my roster. Okay? I would love to have him I'd love to have him on my roster. So I don't know, something to think about there. Hey, one more thing too. He's owed $5.45 million. Boy, I'd like to have Tyrod Taylor on the Eagles next year. Okay? Big Seals, you need to give the Niners more credit. Why? They have the better defense than the Eagles. They have not quite as great an offense as Philly, but as 2 units, they have more talent than Philly. Philly's defense is nothing near the defense that San Francisco has. You got experience all the way up in the front 4. You got the best interior middle linebacker. You have the best safety in the National Football League. You have the best edge, the reigning defensive MVP. I mean, You got 2 experienced defensive tackles in there. You have 1. You have the reigning defensive player of the year on the defensive line, and you got the all-pro starting middle linebacker, and you have a nobody as of now starting at Mike. The difference in experience in the 2 defenses are in the Mike. They're in the Mike. Fred Warner versus Nakobe Dean is not a comparison. It's not a comparison. Is it unfair? Well, welcome to the NFL, son. Welcome to the NFL. Bose is not even in camp. Don't worry, he'll be ready for the start of the season. Okay? He's not in camp. And that's what you're going to say on what gives you the edge on having the better defense. You really think that the Eagles have a better defense than the San Francisco 49ers? Watch this one, Tone. Do you believe you have better defense than the San Francisco 49ers, who held your offense to 260 yards in offense in the NFC title game? Your lowest output, and didn't play with a quarterback. They did a better job against you in the NFC title game than the Kansas City Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. '49ers did a better job against you. Jalen was not very good in that game either. He's better in the Giant game. He wasn't very good in that game against San Francisco. You think you really think you have a better defense in San Francisco? Jesus Christ. Oh man. You now make me before you used to make me kind of crazy, but now you make me laugh because it's quite entertaining. Angelo's right. It's not, I get it now. Hey, you know how you guys tell me? I will throw this out at you. Before I get to the Cowboys here, you know, you guys were telling me a couple days ago how great Cooper Kupp was and how great Cooper Kupp is. I hear he got hurt again. Would you take Devontae Smith or Cooper Kupp if you had to put him on your football team right now? Who's San Francisco's D coordinator? I think Steve Wilkes. Very experienced and really a good one. Philip goes Smitty all day. Yeah, me too. I'm not taking Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp had one season. Jalen. But he's elite, right? Sills, he went for 1945 and 140 catches. He's an elite player. Is he? You think Cooper Kupp's elite? Super Bowl MVP. So is Julian Edelman. Is he elite? Julian Edelman was a Super Bowl MVP. Was it that other guy too that played? What didn't the Patriots have another guy win an MVP that was, what's his name? Deion Branch? Was he an MVP in the Super Bowl? Deion Branch? Cooper Kupp's not an elite wide receiver. He's a very good one. He's not an elite talent. And if I had my choice, I'd take Devontae Smith over him. Yeah, but Sills. But Sills what? The rest of those years, they're kind of good. And they're empty calorie stats. You really think Cooper Kupp has had a great career? Yeah. Again, This goes down the line of Jalen Hurts and how you guys see Hurts after one season. Because you can't think Cooper Kupp has had a great career. Can you? Or do you? Cooper Kupp stats. Delusional? There, let's look at that. Really? Here's Cooper Kupp. He's had 2 years in his entire career, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 6 years, he's had 2 1,000-yard seasons. $145 catches, 1947 and 2021. The rest of them, 40 catches, 566. 94 catches, 1161. 92 catches, 974. Shit, these are Smitty numbers early on. Actually, Devontae Smith's had a better start to his career. Last year, played in 10 games, obviously hurt. 75 catches, 812 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it wasn't for that 1947 season, been an average career. Average. But you guys call him elite. You think Cooper Kupp's elite? Dwayne goes, Wilkes is just okay. Well, then what's your guy? What's Sean Desai if Steve Wilkes is just okay? What's your guy, what, Dwayne? Inexperienced? He's just okay. I don't know how you guys don't use that same formula that you have. Okay? Jordan Davis is, get this. Here's another one from Arthur that's always awesome for me and gets a chuckle from me. Tone, hey, Jordan Davis is in shape. Okay. Congratulations. Man. Hey, Jordan Davis is in shape. Okay. How's he looking in camp? Well, he's in shape. Okay. Well, you are an NFL player. I'm hoping you are. Okay. Desai has better talent. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Better talent. This is classic. Come on. I like arm wrestling all day, too. I can do it. Don't you dare worry. Let's see here. All right, let's go here now. Let's do the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I want to do one thing, though. So you guys said something about Dak Prescott. I want to show you how being a Dallas Cowboy comes with the successes and with the pressures of being a coach or a player that wears that lid. As I said earlier, Dak Prescott plays the most visible position in American sports, the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. No matter what he does, no matter what kind of success he has or not, it's going to be evaluated pluses and minuses because of the magnitude of being the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. There's a reason Tony Romo, there's a reason Troy Aikman, there's a reason that those guys are in the media and have major broadcasting jobs is because they were the starting quarterbacks of the Dallas Cowboys. You really think that Tony Romo was a better quarterback than Donovan McNabb? No. But he was the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. There's not a chance that Tony Romo's a better quarterback than Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl MVP, won a ton of games, but he was the Baltimore Ravens quarterback. When you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, okay? When you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, comes the riches and comes people with criticism. And here's a great example of the criticism. And I pointed this out the other day, and I think it was JM, when I said that, who do you think's a better coach, Mike McCarthy or Sean Payton? And once again, here are the facts. Sean Payton has 9 wins in the postseason and is 9-7. Mike McCarthy has 11 wins in the postseason. Sean Payton's 152-89. And Mike McCarthy's 155-97. I think one more year of coaching. Sean Payton's no better coach than Mike McCarthy. But Mike McCarthy has coached at 2 of the most visible franchises in NFL history, the Packers and the Cowboys. You can't coach at any more high-profile jobs than those 2 on your resume. The Packers and the Cowboys. With the amount of winning that's gone on in those organizations' history. Okay? So at the end of the day, why do you look at Sean Payton and think he's some savior for the Denver Broncos when he's Mike McCarthy with a smile? Tell me I'm wrong, Brian. Where in the world did Payton have Drew Brees? Yes. Did McCarthy have Aaron Rodgers? Yes. Hall of Fame guys. Kind of compatible. Has Dak now. Okay. Where is he better? Where is Sean Payton better than McCarthy? McCarthy gets the heat because he coaches the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, like Aikman and everyone has said, have not won the big games in the last 25 years. Okay? There's no difference. You just look at Mike McCarthy and think Mike McCarthy's an overrated coach. Well, how don't you apply that to Payton? How don't you look at Sean Payton and think he's overrated? Let me ask you this. Do you think Sean Payton underachieved or overachieved in New Orleans with Drew Brees for 17 years? I already know what Tone says. Completely underachieved. Because if Mike McCarthy, I think Mike McCarthy underachieved. Totally do. But don't try to tell me Payton is better. He's not. He's not a better coach. He talks better. I'll tell you this about Andy Reid. Andy Reid and Mike McCarthy were the same guy until I saw Andy Reid in the second half against the Eagles. That was the greatest clock manager. And am I right when I say this, Eagle fans? One of your biggest criticisms that you had about Andy Reid was his clock management, going into timeouts, going into halftime, and coming out of halftime. Were those not issues you had with him in Philadelphia? Because those were the narratives that were out there on him, that coming out of bye weeks, he was great, but clock management, dealing with his timeouts, going into halftime and all of that, he got criticized a lot because he didn't really have great clock management. What he did against the Eagles in the second half, I thought was spectacular. It was the best coaching I've ever seen Andy Reid have. If he coached like that in Philadelphia, even with McNabb, I think he'd have won 2 Super Bowls. I think he'd have won 2 Super Bowls if he coached like that. Personally, I think the difference in Andy Reid, I know some of you are going to go like this, Sills, it's Mahomes and McNabb. Well, I think he trusts Mahomes more than McNabb. That's what happened. And I think actually McNabb is more unlikely to throw picks compared to Mahomes. I think Mahomes, because of how gifted he is, that guy could throw 3 picks in a game and still come back. How many times have we seen him down 21 and come back and win ball games? Remember that Tennessee Titan game? He was down 21, came back, and they won. They won by like 14 or something. He's one of the very few guys I've ever seen that could throw himself into trouble and throw himself out of trouble. There's so few guys that can do that. But I think he trusted and trusts Mahomes more than he did McNabb. And his coaching is better because he trusts the player in Kansas City more than he did the one. See, McNabb was quirky and petty. Whereas, and personally, I think he's easier to coach. I think McNabb was a handful to coach. And that's why Andy trusts Mahomes more. He should have, dude, if he coached like that in that second half against the Philadelphia Eagles, I think he won 2 Super Bowls. I don't think you get upset by Carolina. I don't think you get upset by Atlanta. Okay? I just don't. Hey, you could say all that about Mahomes having better arm talent. Whatever. I said that already. Sure. But I think the trust level with McNabb was far less than it is with Mahomes. I look at the relationship they have on the sidelines. Eric Bieniemy had nothing to do with that. 0. So again, this goes back to how you look at McCarthy versus Payton. Sean Payton, I think he's a good coach, but I also think McCarthy's a good coach. And personally, I think Dak Prescott's going to benefit by having a play caller in Mike McCarthy. I'm not like the rest of the pundits out there that think, do you actually think a guy who put a Hall of Fame career together and was part of a Hall of Fame career with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay is not going to have an impact on Dak Prescott? You're high. So let me ask you this. Who do you think is a better offensive coordinator? This will be an even funny. Hey, let's here's a laugh session. Who's a better offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson or Mike McCarthy? I can't. This is going to be funny. I need to laugh before I go on to the Cowboys. Come on, guys, make me laugh. I need to laugh. Make me laugh. Tell me, is Mike McCarthy a better coordinator, offensive coordinator, than Brian Johnson? Or is Brian Johnson a better coordinator than Mike McCarthy? Who do you think has the better coordinator, Dak or the Eagles? Dumb question. Oh, I see they become dumb questions when you don't want to answer them. Dumb question? No, because most Eagle fans think because Mike McCarthy is going to be the play caller that Dak is going to struggle more. What makes you say that? He didn't struggle with Rodgers. What makes you say that? Well, that means then that Sean Payton's going to struggle with Russell Wilson. We can't answer that? So you can't answer a question with what a guy's resume has and what he's put together. And he's put a record together where he has the same record as people who think Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach. And you can't answer that. This is so fun. Oh, man. Like comparing an NBA player to a prospect coming out of college. That's right. There is no comparison. Just answer the freaking question, Micah. The answer is no, you don't. That's right. But I want to hear you say it. Say it with me, you pancake eating. Say it with me. Say it with me. You can't. You won't. Oh, I've learned something about you, Tone, everyone. Holy shit, is Dak Prescott. He might be the biggest villain along with the Cowboys. That is no question about it. They're the Lex Luthor and the kryptonite to the Philadelphia Eagle fan base. The Cowboys are like kryptonite. It's funny. Wow, man. There is not a more hated team in that city than the Cowboys. Woo, baby. Come on, you pancake-eating Philadelphia Eagle fans. Who has a better coordinator, the Cowboys or you? Answer it. Come on. We live in a world that's changed just a few minutes ago. McCarthy's overrated. Oh, man. Tone's sitting under his desk right now. I'm not going there. This is too much for me. I can't take it. God, he hates the Cowboys, man. Tone hates the Cowboys, and he does not like Dak and none of that, and I get it. Two teams we talked about. Tone goes, I'm going to take a bathroom break. Oh, man. Oh, I know why he went to take a bathroom break, because we brought up two teams that will fight for the NFC title. We talked about the Niners in hour number 1. Now we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys here. Hurts completion percentage, 2023, 48 of 60, 4 TDs, 0 interceptions. Where was that? Oh, wait. Is that the practice stats? Okay. Is the rivalry, should we bring back throwing beer bottles at the Cowboys? I'm not here to incite a January 6th type setting at Lincoln Financial. So from what I've learned by the president being indicted, I'm not allowed to incite anything any longer because my First Right Amendments might be put in question. Hurts is his own play caller, so okay, that's fair, Devin. That's fair. What are your thoughts on the Guardian cap helmets being used during games, possibly? The Guardian helmet thing is stupid. Ask Jordan Mailata. They're dumb. And they're there for you to make you feel like, hey, they're protecting the player. Are you kidding me? They're the stupidest things going. Okay? Man, we're quoting 80% for practices this year compared to a year ago. Man. Hey, all I'm telling you is this. From what I've seen with an indictment yesterday of Donald Trump, 45th president of the United States, I cannot sit here and say throwing beer bottles at Cowboy fans at Lincoln Financial when they come to the building. I cannot support that, nor can I comment on that, because I'm afraid that I could be indicted for inciting a riot. Now, I've been known to incite a riot. If you read Rick Riley back in the day, Dan Sileo +2 for quotability, -3 for inciting a riot. And so I have been known in the past to incite a riot. But now that I know that my constitutional rights could be held against me, I no longer can promote anything with such ferocity of throwing beer bottles at somebody. So there we have it. Bring back the Buddy Ryan. Hey, you know what? Funny you should say that, Weapon. I actually like Sean Payton bitching at the Jets. I think it brings a little bit of rivalry to it. Fires up the fan bases. Why not? Those two guys don't play against one another. Right? Who gives a shit what coaches say to each other? Isn't it funny? I don't get where the end game is, but you know what? I thought about it and I went like this. Well, let's do this. Let's use it for the fans. Sean Payton, who doesn't hit anybody or take hits or catch footballs or throw footballs, versus the Jets coaches who don't do the same. Who gives a shit? These guys want to spark up the fan bases for a rivalry. They're on a schedule this year. I think it's a good thing. Why not? I love Buddy Ryan and Jimmy Johnson barking at each other. Okay? I know, William, I did. I did because I thought it was stupid for him as a coach. But as a fan, do you have a problem with it? Like, if I was a player in that building, I'd have a problem with my head coach. But if I'm a fan, I don't know. Don't you think there's two sides to this? Players in the building versus fans outside the building? You don't think they're all in? You're not a player. You don't have to cash your coach's check. You're not in the football locker room, dude. You're not. William, you're not in the locker room. You think you are, but you're not. Okay, I mean, I don't know. The Cowboys. This is what the Dallas Cowboys have to do to get to the Super Bowl this year. Okay? I did the Niners. If you're going to dethrone the Philadelphia Eagles, this is what you have to do to dethrone them. Dak Prescott has to look like he did in 2021, where he threw 37 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I think you got to go 35 touchdowns, 12 picks, and you make it to the Super Bowl. The O-line has to hold up. They're not really deep there. Philly has a better O-line. Get this. The Cowboys have the more experienced quarterback. The Eagles have the better O-line. Nothing I just said is not true. Brandon Cooks has to be a factor on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. He's got to be a factor. I mean, like, he's got to be around 1,000 yards. JM goes, Dak's experience at losing. Not to you, he's not. Not to you, he's not. Where'd you get that from? Experienced. He's got experience at beating you, you mean? Yeah. Just to correct you there, JM. Experience at killing you. Micah Parsons has to be more consistent on weekly games. And on top of that, Micah Parsons has to also be great in divisional games. Like, he's got to be great in Washington games, Giant games, Eagle games. Okay? Got to be. Let's see. So, Eagle guy goes, killing backups. The only Cowboy win that Jalen Hurts has is against the backup. So are you saying, what are you saying? Jalen's only win against the Cowboy team is against backups. He's never beaten Dak. Tony Pollard has to have 1K, and I think he's got to be around 650 in reception yards and 10 touchdowns. The Cowboys, I think that's within reach. And here's the last one here. I think Mike McCarthy has to really show he's a great play caller. And he's got to make an impact on Dak Prescott. Got to make an impact on Dak. So again, Dak's got to have 35 TDs, 11 picks. O-line has to hold up. Brandon Cooks has to step in. Michael Parsons has to be more consistent. And Tony Pollard has to be at least 1K, 600 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. And McCarthy has to show that he made an impact on Dak Prescott, turning it around. There's no question subtly the one things that have been coming out of Cowboy camp there in Oxnard has been that, Jerry Jones has brought it up numerous times about the interceptions and the turnovers. He's brought it up a bunch. So to me, that's something that they're very, there's no doubt that they've been working on this. Okay? The trend shows that Dak gets coaches fired. Jason Garrett was in Dallas for 9-10 years. Who? It was time to move on from Jason Garrett. Don't you think in 10 years, to use my friend Tone's mentality, in 10 years, if you don't win a Super Bowl, do you think it's time to go? I don't think you should have a head football coaching job if you don't win a Super Bowl in 10 years. I mean, if you're at a place a decade and you're not knocking out the door or you haven't won a Super Bowl, it's time to go. You're never going to win there. That's what the Eagles did to Andy Reid. They did that same thing to Reid. How many years were you going to let Andy Reid stay in Philadelphia and not win a Super Bowl? Forever? So you would have had Marty Schottenheimer in the post. You would have had Marty Schottenheimer in Philly. It was time to go. He didn't win it. He wasn't going to win it. Hey, you know what's funny? I saw somebody go, Mike McCarthy got fired. So did Andy Reid. So did Doug Peterson. Two most successful coaches in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles were fired within, 6 years of each other? You fired the two most successful coaches you've ever had. Let Vermeil you throw in there. And when Mike McCarthy got fired, well, so did Andy Reid. So did Doug Peterson. They both got fired. Yeah, but McCarthy got fired. Okay. How many coaches get to go out on their own? Sean Payton never got fired. No, because he saw he was afraid to coach the team without Drew Brees. Sean Payton has a lot of Phil Jackson in him. Well, I'm not going to coach a team unless I have. It's smart. I'm not going to coach a team unless I have Michael Jordan or Shaq or Kobe. And I'm not going to coach a team unless I have Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. That's smart. Rex Ryan should have took that. Smart. All right, let's take a timeout. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.